Welcome. We're glad you signed in for the Elevate Your Haunted House at the Anderson County Library. My name is Jana. I'm one of the programming librarians here. And what we have here for you this month is a paper haunted house that you can put together to celebrate the season of Halloween. You can make it cute or as scary as you like. All our kits are different colors. So what you get in the kit, you're going to get 2 walls for your house. You got a base piece. You get 3 roof pieces and a chimney. That's over here, chimney. And you get the door and a little door frame. And you have 3 ghosts with the little black background and the white part that goes over it, so he has black eyes. One way you could elevate this if you'd like is cut another circle and let him have a little mouth. He could be smiling, he could be screaming his head off, whatever you like. And there are 3 of those. And there's also a cat and a bat that you can decorate. I was thinking with the cat would be cool if you had around the house any little gems. You give him little green eyes. I think that would be cute. You can give the bat some eyes. You can use a pen, glitter, your heart's content. Give him big smiley faces, all that good stuff. And then you also get little pieces of vellum to put on the inside of the house so you can cover the windows. So the cool thing about that is you can do an optional hole, cut a hole in your base with a tea light. You trace around the tea light and then you add like a little 1/4 of an inch around that just so you have space to get your tea light in there, and then you can have the hole and just place that over it and have a cool effect, which I'm not sure you can see too well. There you go. There's a light going on in there. Now what you can also do over the windows if you like is you could cut out pictures of family members. You could put them inside the house, smiling out, scowling out, whatever. You could put silhouettes of something scary. You can put on the inside of the vellum so that when the light inside shines against it, it creates the background of something inside lurking in the house. So that would be cool too. Now again, depending on what you've got in your house, you could put, for the roof, you could put shingles. So I have a couple pens here, actually I thought were kind of cool. So you can, I got a gel pen, you can do little shingles all the way down your roof if you'd like. So that was a, what is this thing? This is a Jelly Roll pen. We also have metallic craft pens, just to give you an idea of what some of this stuff looks like. So you might want to test just on any old black piece of paper just to see what it looks like. And that's a silver one. So you can play around with that. You can do different shaped shingles, little pointy ones, or, you know, and alternate them. Looks like scales. The only thing is you might want to make sure all your shingles are going in the right direction. So I had a colleague who did them in the wrong direction, so not too happy about that. So when you look at the roof, you have the roof piece, you would have to make sure all your shingles are going down this way. But then when you get to the awning part of it here, I think it's the dormer part, when you fold it, you'll notice that it goes down this side. So when you do your shingles, you do not want to do it across this way. You want to do it across this way so that they're all going in the right direction. And just one other thing is when you glue the inside of the roof in here, you want to make sure your folds are folded forward. I don't know how well we can see that there. So that it fits inside the V of the roof. So that all the overlapping parts are on the inside of the roof. Okay. Also, if you have any questions, please type them in and I'll do my best to answer them. That would be great. Any feedback, any ideas you have for what you might think the house would be cool to do to. Other things you can do is, I've got a little ink pad. You could do ink pads and put, you know, effects onto your roof, onto the house, try to make it look older. Just give it some dimension. I don't know how well we can see that kind of thing. I also got orange. Let's see what that looks like. Oops, where'd my piece of paper go? Let's see what orange looks like. All right, orange isn't really showing up. So white's pretty good if you have white around. You could also, if you have a white marker, I've done this before too. If you don't have ink pads, if you have a magic marker and a cotton ball, you can soak the cotton ball and use that as an ink pad from the marker, and it stays wet enough that you can control putting the ink on. So I think that's a good workaround if you happen to have a white marker. So some other things we did, I just love miniatures. So I liked making little things to go with the house. So the first thing I came up with is a witch lives in this house. She has to have a broom. Where'd my broom go? I don't know. Great, the broom has disappeared. But what you're going to do is you take any kind of skewer or toothpick, and what I did was took a piece of brown paper, and now you can see that, and I fringed the end of it, and then with a little bit of glue it down, and then just wrap it tightly around. I don't know if you can how well you can see this from this angle. She found it. Yay, thank you. So that you have a little thing of the broom. So this is my finished broom that I did. And I thought, okay, that worked out. And then what I did at the top with the twine, just to show you, is I took a piece of twine and I unraveled it so I could get a thinner strand of it to tie around the top of my broom. So I thought that worked out pretty well. So I got my little broom, and actually you can spread it out and it will stand up on its own. And another thing I did, which I thought, every house needs a pumpkin at Halloween, right? So you can do a regular pumpkin, you can turn it into a jack-o'-lantern or whatever. So what I did to create this little pumpkin is I had some orange felt, and I took the bottom of a glass and I traced around the glass with pen, and I cut that out so I had my circle. And then I took some embroidery thread, orange embroidery thread, and I did a running stitch around the edge of the pumpkin because you're going to gather this up. So let me just show you a couple stitches if we can see this. So a running stitch around the top. And I did some of this beforehand because who wants to watch me sew? So we're going to go to here. All right, and that brings me all the way back to the top. So then when I start pulling on the embroidery thread, I can gather it up. Now, you can stuff stuff in here. What I tried with a cotton ball because I figured everybody's got cotton balls, right? It is very difficult to sew through cotton. So your best choice would be if you have any kind of fiber fill. And you can stuff that in there. If you had old pillows you were going to get rid of, you can scavenge the fiber fill out of that. And you just pull that up tight. Oops. And voila, we have a pumpkin shape. Now, to get the little ridges of the pumpkin, you're going to take your thread, and what you might want to do is just sew across the top here just to secure it, and then you're going to sew down through the middle, come up through the bottom. Oops. Not have a knot. And then you come around, and you do that all the way around the pumpkin so that you section it, and that pulls in the sides so you have that little indentation that pumpkins have. Or if you don't want to, you can just keep it round. That's cool, because that will give you more space if you want to draw on a little jack-o'-lantern face or anything like that. Then, to do the little green at the top, I just took a very small piece of felt, a little square, and rolled it on top of itself. So let me just show you what I did. I took a little rectangle, and then I just rolled it, put a little glue in there, and rolled it, and rolled it, and glued it, and rolled it, and glued it, until I had a stem-looking creation that I could glue on top. And then I also cut out a little leaf so I could get my little pumpkin. Now, also what I did is, I don't like houses without trees. You gotta have a tree, right? So what I did with this is I happened to have a piece of floral wire. This is a really handy item to have around the house, just because it's bendable and it's easy to manipulate. So what I did was I cut a piece of this off. It's good if you have wire cutters. Scissors will work though. Use old scissors, not sewing scissors. And cut that off. And then what I did is I took a piece of cardboard and I wrapped a bunch of yarn around it. And I took that off. And it doesn't matter how much. It depends on how full your tree is going to be. So I took that out. And then I wrapped the wire onto so that the yarn stuck out on either side, okay? And then I had pieces at the bottom. So what you're going to do at the bottom is you're going to twist the floor wire around, and you want to make sure that that is tight on there, okay? And then what you're going to do is all your loops, you're going to cut all your loops so that you got branches. Oops. I hope y'all can see this. Am I centered? No. Cut my loops. And what you're going to do is going to look like a mess, but this is where the fun part comes. This is where you're going to trim your tree. So I wanted it kind of triangular, or if you really want the spirit of Halloween, it could look like that. That's pretty scary. So what I did is when you lay it down flat, then you start trimming it. And I did it in a kind of a triangular shape, and you just keep turning it and cutting it until you get to the shape that you like. I had a couple of more loops there, etc., etc. So you just keep cutting it. You'll have a little topiary. And if you're really talented, you can topiary into the shape of a skeleton or, you know, spider, whatever grabs you. And so you get the basic idea of what I did with that. And then for the base, I happen to have a piece of black foam because I have all kinds of crazy stuff. And I just stuck the end of that in there. And I had my tree. Now, you can also, if you don't have that, bottle caps will work. You know, you just put a little hole in there with an awl or something, you can stick it in there and glue it, and that will hold your tree. And of course, you know, you might want to color that so that looks appropriately black. Other things I thought of, oh, and that's another thing with the floor wire, is when you do the stem of the pumpkin, you can put a little piece of the stem in the green and wrap it around that. And then you can take your pumpkin stem and you can bend it and do all kinds of, you know, different things that you might want to do with it, because that gives it a little extra oomph. Another thing I thought was kind of cool is online they have all kinds of eyes. And what I thought was neat, I cut out this little eye here. And what I did is instead of putting the door in with the little cross, I just cut the middle of that out. And then I glued that around the eye. So I thought, in case you want somebody watching you, you could put your eye over the doorway. And I thought that looks kind of scary. So that would work if you want to do something crazy like that. Or take a picture of a real eye and stick a real eye in there. That would work too. And another thing I thought of is, you got a chimney, got to have smoke coming out of it. So again, fiberfill looks like smoke. You could use cotton ball for that. That would work as well. And you can also, if you have fishing line, take one of your ghosts, attach some fishing line to him, and put that on the inside of the chimney, and he can look like he's kind of floating around the house as well. So just a few ideas to elevate your house for Halloween. And I think that is everything that I had. So anybody have any questions? I'd love to answer it. Anything from the peanut gallery there, Cash? Nobody's writing in. Anybody have any ideas of what else they might want to do? Okay, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys back when we have real classes in person. It'll be fun. But in the meantime, I hope you'll enjoy doing our little kits every month and sharing them with us on social media so we can see what you're creating. That would be great. So I hope you all have fun and happy Halloween.